A very good day to one and all. I'm Dr. Rohit Gopinath, and today we'll be talking about pancreas. So like I said earlier, pancreas remain to be one of the most important organs in the body. Involvement of the pancreas, there are many pathologies which can involve the pancreas. Some of them are congenital, some of them are acquired. Among the congenital anomalies involving the pancreas, most of them are anatomical abnormalities involving the pancreas. So anatomical abnormalities which are congenital in nature are usually closely related to the embryology of that particular gland. So the embryology of pancreas plays a very important role in understanding certain pathologies of the pancreas. Now, pancreas is one structure which seems to develop from two parts. So both these parts, which are called as buds, they arise from the endoderm. So the pancreatic buds are of endodermal origin, and they arise from the lowermost portion or the terminal portion of the foregut. These endodermal buds which contribute to the pancreas are closely related to another endodermal bud which develops at around the same time, which is called as the hepatic bud. So the hepatic bud gives rise to the hepatobiliary system, whereas the pancreatic buds will obviously give rise to the pancreas. So in the initial phase of development, you find that the buds are located on the dorsal and ventral aspects of the foregut. So a dorsal aspect means posterior and a ventral aspect means anterior, isn't it? So the bud, pancreatic bud, which was located anteriorly or ventrally was called as the ventral pancreatic bud, whereas the bud which was located posteriorly or dorsally was called as the dorsal pancreatic bud. So among the ventral and the dorsal pancreatic bud, the first to develop is always the dorsal pancreatic bud. So the dorsal pancreatic bud is the first to develop, and it develops around the 4th week of gestation. Larger in size when compared to the ventral pancreatic bud, and the dorsal pancreatic bud, it elongates or it increases in size within the leaves of the dorsal mesentery of the duodenum, whereas the ventral pancreatic bud is located within the ventral mesentery of the duodenum. Okay, so then what happens is that the duodenum undergoes a rotation. So the foregut which develops into the duodenum undergoes a rotation, and as a result of the duodenal rotation, the ventral pancreatic bud comes to lie on the right hand side, whereas the dorsal pancreatic bud comes to lie on the left hand side. Now, so the ventral pancreatic bud, which was initially anterior or ventrally located, is now on the right side, and the dorsal pancreatic bud is on the left side. So what happens next is that the gut elongates. So because of the differential elongation of the gut wall, the ventral pancreatic bud, which was located on the right side, rotates and comes to the left side. So when the ventral pancreatic bud comes to the left side, it carries with it the biliary duct opening as well and brings it onto the left side. When the ventral pancreatic duct comes to the left side, it fuses with the dorsal pancreatic duct to form, for dorsal pancreatic bud, to form a pancreatic mass. Okay, so the ventral pancreatic bud joins the post-dorsal pancreatic bud to form a pancreatic mass. So this formation of the pancreatic mass occurs by around the 7th week of gestation. So this pancreatic mass gives rise to the future pancreas. Okay, now the dorsal pancreatic duct gives rise to a predominant portion of the pancreas. Most of the portion of the pancreas develop from the dorsal pancreatic bud. The ventral pancreatic bud gives rise to only the lower portion of the head of the pancreas and the uncinate process of the pancreas. So the uncinate process and the lower portion of the head of the pancreas alone are derived from the ventral bud of the pancreas. The rest of it is all from the dorsal bud of the pancreas. So this again is a diagrammatic representation of how the ventral bud, which was anteriorly located, and the dorsal bud, which is posteriorly located, comes to lie on the right and left side respectively because of duodenal rotation, and then because of the differential growth, the ventral bud comes on to the left side and fuses with the dorsal bud. So the main pancreatic duct and the accessory pancreatic duct. Now, so initially, both the buds, the dorsal and the ventral buds, they open separately into the duodenum. Then what happens is that you have the formation of the main pancreatic duct. So there arises an oblique anastomosis between the duct of the ventral bud and the distal portion of the duct of the dorsal bud. So there arises an oblique anastomosis between the duct of the ventral bud and the distal portion of the duct of the dorsal bud. So this structure later forms the major pancreatic duct. So the major pancreatic duct, the proximal end of it is derived from the ventral bud, distal end of it is derived from the dorsal bud with an in-between communication. Now, the proximal portion of the duct of the dorsal bud forms the accessory pancreatic duct. So, the proximal portion of the duct of the dorsal bud gives rise to the accessory pancreatic duct, whereas the distal portion of the duct of the dorsal bud combines with the duct of the ventral bud by means of an oblique anastomosis to form the main pancreatic duct.